What's wrong with a great spot with our buddy Darryl Strawberry doing a lot of prison reform? We'll get to that too. Met, Dodger, Yankee, one of the all-timers, fun to watch, a magnet in New York sports. I've done it for 40 years. Him and Patrick Ewing are the two magnets. You can talk Darryl Strawberry all day, and the phones will light up, and he says hello. Darryl, welcome. How are you today, okay? Things good?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. Sure, I'm doing everything's well.
Very good. All right, you played on both. Which team do you think is better, the 98 Yankees or the 86 Mets?
Oh, I get this question all the time. The 86 Mets were a phenomenal team. I was young then, so it's hard to tell with the 98 Yankees. 98 Yankees was a great team, and I was a lot older, and I played a role on that team. But I would have to say my everyday playing with the 86 Mets, I don't think anybody could have beat us. In the World Series, of course, we were drained from that National League Championship Series against the Astros and had to come into the series against Boston, and we just had to pull through. We lost the first two, and I just remember going out to Boston, and I just remember the team coming back together and putting up some big games. Big home runs by Lenny, big home runs by Carter. It really lifted us and took us into a place of getting back into the series. And once we got back into it, we just felt like we could win no matter what.
I know Kevin Mitchell was getting changed, and Strawberry and Hernandez was drinking a beer when Carter got up. What were you doing in Game 6, 2 outs against Girardi? Were you in the dugout with Gary at spat? What was Darryl Strawberry doing that Saturday night in the 10th inning?
I was in the clubhouse with Hernandez, and he was in Davies' office, and I think with, I don't remember, it was Gerald Johnson, I think. He was a scout for the organization, if I remember that is his name. But we were all sitting there and we're watching the game, and Hernandez was like, don't move, because something is happening. And the game started to unfold. That was just a year of a team, like I said, a great team. Baseball is about a team. It's not about individual stats. And when you have a great team, players don't give up. And nobody gave up. And everybody just went up there and battled for that last out and didn't want to be the last out. And there it was. It started to unfold for us. And things happened. Girardi couldn't get anybody out. And, the wild pitch and Mookie, with his speed running down the first base on that ground ball where Buckner let the ball roll past him. I think a lot of people were blaming Buckner for all of that. About his whole career, as like he sucked, and he was a great player, and it was just that one play. He couldn't beat Mookie to that bag anyway if he'd have made that play.
Yeah, 100%. Plus the wild pitch there tied the game up anyway. People seem to forget that. Did that Mets team, Darryl, need a second championship to stamp their greatness? You had a chance in 87. The Cardinals beat you out in 85. You the home run off the clock. Who can forget? Late in the year against the Cardinals. Then, of course, 88. You let the Dodgers off the hook when Socha hit the two-run homer off Gooden down 2-1 for the Dodgers at Shea, and they went on to beat you with Hershiser. Did you need a second one to stamp the greatness of the 80s Mets? What's your take with that?
It would have been great to get a second one, no question about it. I think the 80s teams were awesome. Every year we were in it out after 84 on, even to 90 of losing in that year. But we were always in the mix of having a chance to win. You got to remember you had to win the division back then, so it wasn't no wild card. You would just get in. If you looked at our team, we had 95 wins a year. We'd have made it every year, but it wasn't that. So you had to win the division to be able to get in. And 87 was just a heartbreak with Terry Pendleton hitting that ball at Shea Stadium at home off of Roger McDowell. It's just plays you don't forget. And then Socha hitting that home run off of Doc in 88. 88 team was so much better than the 87 team, but I don't think it was better than. Talent-wise, it was better than the 86 team, but the 86 team just had more guts. We played with more intensity, and we were just a bulldozer. We would run you over in 86, and I think the 88 team, we just thought we were going to win it because we were playing the Dodgers in that series, and they just happened to come up with some big hits and big situations, and they go on, and we go into Game 7, and we're down right away, 5-0. Usually in 86, when we're down 5-0 early in the ball game, we knew we was going to come back and win the ball game. But in 88, we didn't just have that same feeling in the dugout. I remember that experience that we couldn't come back and beat the Dodgers in that game after we got down.
Excellent point. Darryl's doing a great job here. Good memory. It's funny. Your two championships, your first two, 96 Yankees, 86 Mets, a decade apart. Both teams lost the first 2 games at home, which people don't realize. But the Yankee depth in 96, you, Boggs, Charlie Hayes, Cecil Fielder, and go on and on and on, really at the end of the day made you the better team in Atlanta. That 96 comeback against the Braves at Fulton County was phenomenal. How about that for a sec? Let me hear.
It really was. That Yankee team of 96 was a team of destiny, too. Just kind of remind me of the 86. Like I said, we had a lot of players that had a lot of experience. You know, Tim Raines was on that team. You think about Cecil and Charlie Hayes, guys that came over that played a lot of games and understood what baseball was all about. You know, the key to any team is always going to be your manager. And I think Joe Torre was the key to looking at his bench and saying, I got a bench that can play. I got a lot of guys that's got a lot of history playing at the big league level and been successful. Maybe I need to spin this a little bit. And he spent it a little bit with the lineup. And we went down to Atlanta. He played some of the players off the bench, and we got the job done. It was nothing against the guys that were playing the first 2 games. You know, it was just a struggle. And so he pushed the door open to opportunity, and guess what? It worked. And I think that's what baseball is all about. That's being able to understand how baseball really works.
100%. Fielder, of course, came in for Tino, and Boggs sat for Hayes, and look how it turned out. Listen, you get asked this a lot too. Hall of Fame talent. Does it bother you that you may have left some of your greatness in the dugout and didn't fulfill your incredible potential? Had a great career, should have been a Hall of Famer, and you're not. Does that bother you, Darryl?
It does not bother me. I think sometimes people carry that with them for the rest of their life. And I think understanding life and who I am today and what I've achieved today is far greater than what I will ever achieve on the baseball field. Far greater than, you know, being in the Hall of Fame or anything. For me, or maybe for other players, you know, they would prefer being in the Hall of Fame. But I think my journey was supposed to be the way it went, and I was supposed to experience all these things in life so I could become the man that I am today. And that's what's really important. You know, life is short, it's not long, and I think we all think it's long. And yeah, would have been great to be a Hall of Famer? Yeah, but that's not, at the end of the day, that doesn't stop me from being the man that I am today and what I've created in my life, you know, through my faith and helping so many people. I think I was put here to be able to go on a journey like I did and play Major League Baseball and have the platform and be able to become the man that I am today and go back and help so many other people who are hopeless and need to know that just because you fall down does not mean you can't get back up and you can't get in the game of life and experience the abundance of life.
Yeah, that's one thing Darryl did learn a lot about, and you're doing a great job right now with this prison reform about drug abuse and everything else there. Darryl, give me some thoughts on that for a sec. Go ahead. Let me hear.
Well, it's just such a thrill that I get to go into maximum security prisons. I'm on my way to down about an hour and a half way today to St. Louis. I got 2 prisons coming up Wednesday and Thursday. So I'm excited about that. I just preached in one up in the penitentiary up in Penn State, right up to Penn State. And it's just amazing to be able to walk on those grounds and go on those grounds and have an open door with the chaplain and the wardens and everybody invite me in to, you know, minister to the inmates. You know, they're living life there. Most of them, a lot of them won't never get out, and a lot of them are there for a very long time. And I get to go in there and I get to love on them and I get to encourage them and I get to, you know, also get a chance to challenge them about stepping up and, you know, being the man that you were created to be in faith, you know, not what we have done. No one's a mistake. We just make a bunch of mistakes in lives. And have they made some serious mistakes in life? Yes. But we don't know what happened in their household. We don't know what dysfunction and brokenness they come from that brought them to that place. So I think it's important, you know, that we as people learn that, you know, God loves us all no matter what mistakes we make. And we need to not point fingers at people and say, well, they are a loser, because no one's a loser. No one was created to be that. This is real life and challenges are real.
Good job there, Darryl. Always fun to watch. We've had you on a million times. Keep up the great work. Thanks for a few minutes here today. Always a pleasure.
Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure, Chris. Thanks so much.